Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon to you. My name is Kijana Owens. We will be having our very first uh, kickoff of the Partnerships and Success podcast. I'm honored to have an amazing young man, a man of action, on with me today to be the inaugural, if you will, podcast for this scenario. You think about relational currency. It's all about relational currency, the most powerful currency in the entire world. Not crypto, not anything else. It's all about relationships. Who do you know? And not only that, who knows you and what you do. Today, it's an honor. It's a privilege. It's, as Les Brown would say, a plum pleasing pleasure to have this man of action on with me today to kick this whole podcast scenario off. Dr. Herbert Harris, author of the 12 Universal Laws of Success. We got him on. Stand by. There he is right there, Dr. Harris. Great afternoon, sir. Great afternoon. Honor, privilege, and a pleasure. Like I said, Les Brown, and it's an honor to have you on. How are you doing this afternoon, sir?
Incredibly great, man. And I thank you so much for having me on. I appreciate your work. I appreciate this moment. And I take off my hat to you. Good job, my friend.
Sir, if anything I'm doing is because of following great leaders, one of which we've also had an opportunity, you for decades to know. We'll talk a little bit about those relationships as we go forward. Sir, we were able to connect. I want to talk about relational currency and the power of it. I know as a speaker, a mentor, a coach, an author, a developer, just a man of action yourself. Being able to, the relational currency connected us through relationships we had. Unbeknownst to us, the currency was connecting and we connected. And I've been able to glean off of you. And sir, if you would, a little bit about yourself and what it is that you would like to say as we get this podcast started off today, sir.
Well, Kejana, number one, I love working with young people. And I look at what you're doing, and it's a validation of what we have done. The fact that we have been able to pass on some of our teaching, some of our knowledge, some of our experience, and to see it manifest in the next generation as you move forward. So, number one, I'm just super happy, super excited about that, because that is the greatest tribute you can pay to a teacher. I studied with the great Reverend Ike and worked in his office and spent time with him. And because of that, I was able to learn more, be able to do more, and to get the teaching, you might say, on a different level. When you get the teaching straight from the teacher and you're able to discuss it and your ideas and their ideas resonate and vibrate together, it's an entirely another level of learning. And so I'm pleased to be on the program. One of the reasons that I'm excited about being here, I love doing things at the first of the year. The first of the year, when people start the new year, people are so hopeful, and they make resolutions, and they think about how they would like to create a new year better than the year that just finished. And so I love to get out our message from the book, from the 12 Universal Laws of Success, from our home study course, from some of the other products that we market. And the idea is to give people tools. Many times I was listening to a Jim Rohn quote, and many of the things that you need now to be successful in this world, in this time, are not taught in school. They're not taught in high school. They're not taught in college. And even some of the business schools, they're not taught. And so this idea of teaching and sharing information that we have gleaned over the years, information that when another person takes it, it works just for them, just like it worked for me. that is a great tribute. And so the first part of the year, I love to focus on helping a person get their toolbox together, helping a person get their rhythm together. Because if you can establish a certain rhythm in the first month of the year, then all you really have to do the rest of the year is duplicate what you're doing and get better at it. And so for that reason, we really focus, Kajana, we are now on day 17 of a 21-day challenge. And what we wanted to do was to give people messages. Today, our message is getting rid of negative people.
Okay. I love that. Yes, sir.
Which ties in with your relationship thing, because relationships work positively and negatively. If you have the wrong people in your space, in your vibration, we're all about vibrations, and you may be vibrating positive 10, and you get a negative person who's vibrating -5. It brings your vibration down. It interacts. It's like a wave. When you look at the radio waves and whatnot, the waves can cancel each other out. And so this idea of relational currency has deep, deep meaning, because the people you permit to come into your life and be a part of your journey can either uplift you and help you, or undermine you and slow you down.
Woo! Wait a minute. See, don't give them all of it early on. That's a lot right there. Because see, man, what you always bring to the table is something that makes people think. Very, very wisdom oriented, sir. I love it. You got a comment here. Do you still have that article I let you take? That was a Star Telegram. Now, that Facebook user out there that's watching right now, if you put your name in there, you probably understand who that comes from right there. But you got some people out there watching that absolutely love who you are, what you do. That is profound about your project. You've also introduced that whole process that you're taking people through to success. We have a little video on it that you did do for the promo interview. We'll show that a little later. But tell us here, if you will, as you work with youth, what is the most difficult part about getting people to understand that they have within them what they're looking for outside of themselves?
Well, I identify very powerfully with young people and with people who have a dream. I started out as a young man growing up in the South, really during the era of segregation and all those kind of negative things. And one of the things that was critical to me as a young man was to have somebody share knowledge with me beyond what I already knew, to expose me to a whole another way of thinking. When I left my home to go to college, I was 16 years old, and I went to New York City. And people said to my mother, they said, well, aren't you afraid? Aren't you worried? She said, well, no. She said, I've done all I can to set him on the right path. I have a brother in New York who can help him, but I think he's equipped to go where he wants to go. And so that was powerful, because my mother gave me something. The teachers that I had in junior high and high school gave me tools and gave me concepts that could guide me. And so when we look at young people today, it's a different educational context. It's a different school system, elementary, middle school, all different school system. And so many of the young people today don't get the basic information, the basic understanding that we got in my era. Courses like civics, courses like they call it home economics. People don't use checkbooks very much, but how to balance a checkbook, how to keep track of your budget in your house. That was all a part of home economics. They don't teach that anymore. So this idea of working with young people is to, one, be patient with them, because this paradigm in which they live is one that says you know everything you need to know. And that's a dangerous concept, because when you think you know and you really don't, you don't learn. And so to work with
saying you don't know what you don't know.
You don't know what you don't know. And so with working with young people is to, number one, be patient with them and learn how to work with them. You can't come in with a heavy hand. I'm going to teach you whether you want to learn or not. You have to be able to create a hunger within them to want to know. Sometimes we'll be doing a class, and we were doing a class once, and a fellow was sitting on the front, and I said, I'd like to know why you all in this class. What would you like to learn? What's the number one thing you'd like to learn? Young man looked at me and said, I'd like to learn how you got that Rolex watch. That's what I want to know. and it surprised me for a moment, but one of the things in working with young people, you always have to maintain a certain amount of composure, because sometimes, they can say things that just from our frame of reference may not demonstrate clarity that we think they should have. And I said, if you really want to know, and if you promise to follow what I tell you, I'll tell you. And the young man said, I'll follow. And so we started, and that opened the whole door. I put in his hand a copy of the 12 Universal Laws of Success. And I said to him, if you want to get a Rolex watch like this one, then you got to take this book and read it, cover to cover. Once you finish reading this book, two things. I'm going to sign the book for you, and then I'm going to pay you the cost of the book. That got his attention. And I said, now, once you do that, then you're ready for the next lesson to learn how to get a Rolex watch.
Start at the beginning. Start right there at the beginning. And I'm going to invest in you to do what you need to do for your own life. I think that's just an amazing way to help someone kind of even get the first steps, as opposed to, let me tell you something, right? I get it, right? Sometimes, right? We've all been there, and gratefully, we've been able to get through the journey. And when we get to this side of understanding, yes, now it becomes a responsibility. It's biblical. I always say I'm a baby of the word, but what's given is required. The more of you, right? So now here you are, sowing into me. We're sowing into others. What we didn't know then that we know now. How important is it to reach back and sow a seed into your community? When you had me on your podcast, mm-hmm, and we talked about the cocoon of support, mm-hmm, the village, those that were there for us. Talk about that.
Well, once again, growing up in the segregated South, there was a different paradigm than as people of color, and I'm not just saying it but to the world. And I think every particular ethnic group has a similar experience. But as people of color, we had to learn to do for self. So we had our own businesses, your own doctors, lawyers, restaurants, taxi cab companies. And so we were able to maintain that because those who were successful kept feeding back into the community, creating a pipeline. Today, where so much of the world is disconnected, you think about this, the church used to be the center of just about everybody's lives. At the church, you had the Boy Scouts, you had all these activities that brought young people in. You had the boys' clubs where people went to learn how to play and how to get along. And so when we look at today, especially after the pandemic, where people have been cut off from one another, socialization, that ability to communicate and relate to others, is not where it should be. And so the scripture says, to whom much is given, much is expected. And to recognize that we are here for a season. And in order to really validate our lives, it's like the farmer. The farmer, it's not about the title of the farmer or how much money the farmer makes. It's about the crop that the farmer brings in.
That's one of those. Got to let that work through. Wow, sir. That's profound. Now, sowing those seeds, tilling that soil, helping someone develop into the tree that they can
Yes.
become from that acorn.
Yes.
Now you've cultivated success for a long time in people as a mentor, decades, of
Yes.
consistent development. What's some of the great stories you could share? What it feels like to see someone develop into the person you knew they could be.
Kijana, when each person has their own dream, they just may not have all the tools necessary to make that dream a reality. And so, as a coach, as a teacher, as a mentor, as one who's been very blessed by God, by the Creator, by the world, every challenge that you have can be looked at as an opportunity for growth. And so, when we when we look back at our lives, there are different stages in your life. You have that first stage that we call the stage of education, where you learn the basics of life. Then you have the second stage, that's like 20 years, 20 to 40 years, where you learn to handle the emotions, how you learn about love and drugs and sex and all those emotional things, and how you learn that you must control them. And then the third stage of life, that stage of power, where your mantra is to get things done, to make money, to change the world, to build, to create. And then that fourth stage of life is that stage of immortality, the legacy. What do you want to leave for the world? And so it's important now to leave the world better than when we found it. And so as that farmer, we must plant the seeds. And having planted, our job is to cultivate and to realize that we are all here for a season. So it's just as important to teach somebody else how to plant, to teach somebody else how to cultivate, so that the next generation can farm and can enjoy the benefits of those ideas. It does something to you. It helps complete your purpose. I mean, we were put here for a purpose. God does not create junk. God does not have any extraneous creations. Anything that is created, anything that exists is for a purpose. And so we live that purpose by sharing what we've learned with others and then helping guide them on to the next level. So it's not it's really the donation we make to life that's important. It's what do we do that lives on beyond us? That's what's important.
What's your donation to life?
Mm-hmm.
That might be a book. We will write that down, right? They trying to get our stuff we're working on in the gumbo pot. That is
Mm-hmm.
amazing. You said when helping someone to realize, you preface it with, they may not have the tools they
Mm-hmm.
need to create the life that they can.
Mm-hmm.
Something as I was taking my notes, when
Yes, yes, yes.
you see something in them that they may not be able to see, and they just don't have the tools yet.
Well, see, that's the thing, Jana. You know, when I interview people, I've interviewed really hundreds of people over the years. And one of the questions I often ask is there a person, somebody that when you met them, they made a difference in your life? When you met them, they took you under their wing. They challenge you. Sometimes it's somebody who challenges you, who says, you can do better than this. You can do you're better than this. Why are you operating on this low level, and you have the opportunity, the ability to be greater. And in a bulk of the times, there's always one person that made a difference. Like you talked about George Frazier. And let me tell you, I talked to, it's funny, after we talked, George called me and we were talking. I said, man, I met a young man and he was sharing how you turned his life around. How you pointed him in the right direction, and he hasn't looked back since. He's been rolling. And man, George, it almost brought him to tears. He was like, man, that's what it's all about. And so when you can see the fruits of your labor, we talk about network marketing. One of the young men that I coached was having great success, and he bought a car. And we were in New York over at the Mercedes place, over on the 12th Avenue around 42nd Street. We go over there, and the whole crew is there, and he gets the car, and he's standing there, and he starts crying. Tears are running out his eyes. He's boo-hooing. And we were like, man, this is kind of interesting. You don't really know how to respond. Are you upset that I say something? Because our crew was there, and so I had talked about how he had worked so hard and how he had built his group and was making big money now. And he said, no. He said, you know why I'm crying? He said, he said, I'm 46 years old. And he said, I've never owned a new car. He said, this is the first time in my life I've ever bought a brand new car. It had 6 miles on it. He said, every car I had was new to me. Okay, but it wasn't new. He said, that's what's bringing tears to my eyes. He said, because I never thought that I would ever own a brand new car that smelled like a new car. There was no spray smell. Okay, where you could smell the leather and smell the rug. And man, it brought tears to him. And you know what, Kijana? Everybody in the room started crying. Even the salesman, man, the tears were running down his eyes. Because to say, when you see somebody else realize their dream, man, you're in there. You feel that it becomes a part of you. So that's one of those kind of stories that, you say, man, I'm so glad I could be a part of that to help that young man achieve that dream.
Being able to be a part of somebody's growth is I don't know what kind of gift is better than that. When you can help someone see something in themselves that they may not have been able to see. I had a young man, a good story, was mentoring, coaching, developing, and I had him come out to the house, and he said, man, did you ever think you could live like this? And I'm living in it, and it's nothing. Yeah. You see, well, we could disregard the beautiful, grateful things that he blesses us with, and someone could see it and say, man, wow. But what that did for him was to show him what he could achieve. And someone was in my life like that. My dad, he first of all, he got me wearing a suit out in the field, professional, and it postured me up. I started to be received a little different. And that changed the tenor of how I carried myself. And it's taken time to be able to communicate the way I speak now, do the things that I'm doing now. And we always say, if I'd have known then what I know now, man. But see, here's the deal, sir. We know now what we didn't know then. And I know you have some meat and potatoes for that right there. What about knowing now what we didn't know then?
When I look back on my life, and I often ask the question, based on where I am now, what advice would I give my younger self? And when I think about that, when I ask myself that question, I say to myself, number one, start earlier. That when I look at where I'm at right now, if I could have started earlier, many times we're not clear about what we want to do with our lives. And when you're not sure about your direction, it's like having an incredible GPS and not knowing what destination you want to put into it. Until you put a destination in, that GPS is worthless. And so when I look back, I'd say, number one, to start early, to do the very best you can to become as clear as you can about what you want to be, do, and have. Listen to your parents. I think there's a tendency to rebel a little bit and not want to be what they want you to be. But looking back, there are things that I wish that I had done that they wanted me to do that I just didn't want to do. I was flying high and was very fortunate to make some money young in life. And so, as they say, man, you couldn't tell me anything. But as I now at another portion of my life, and I look back, and I'm like, I wish that now they saw. You see, many times people can see far beyond what you can see at that particular time. There's an allegory. A teacher told me a story, and I'll paraphrase it a little bit, and it's about how you at the moment see based on your level of consciousness right now. But if you had greater knowledge based on experience and the God mind, that mind inside of us that gives us the ability to see beyond what is. And he talks a story of Moses and God walking along together. And he says, Moses and God were walking along, and they found a Samaritan, looked like a good Samaritan there on the side of the road. And he'd been robbed, and he was bloody, and he was laying there on the side of the road. And God walked over and took the man's sword and killed him. Moses was like, whoa, man, that seemed kind of radical, but he didn't say anything. And finally they walk along further, and they find a couple. And this couple is being chased by this group of people, some I'll call them cannibals, but just people who wanted to hurt them. And they were trying to get to their boat that was in the harbor there. And God went out and cut a hole in the boat, sank the boat. The people got captured, and they were killed. So Moses finally said, well, God, all of that seems very terrible. Why would you do that? And God said, well, you can only see based on where you are right now. He says, I see all things. He says, that man by the side of the road, if I had not killed him, he would have gone on to become a terrible tyrant. He would have killed thousands of people trying to maintain and perpetuate his power. And he said that couple that was trying to get to their boat, if I had not sunk that boat had on it many blankets filled with smallpox and all kinds of diseases. If they had been permitted to live, they would have gone to many islands and taken diseases that would have killed thousands and thousands of people. And so what it's saying is that trust the older people, trust the people who've been there. It is a great feat to still be alive. And so whenever, as a young person, whenever older people tell you something, I would pay much more attention to it, especially when they give you those little stories. Like my dad used to tell me, he said, look, you need to straighten up and fly right.
Oh, man. Straighten up and fly right. Oh, let me get started with some. My father would hit me with so many,
yeah.
The student will only appear, or the teacher will only appear when the student is ready. He's 8, 9 years old. Like, what is this?
What is he talking about?
What is he talking about? But that's when you are really sowing the seeds before the tree knows it's a tree.
Yes.
The tree doesn't even know it's a tree yet while you getting the fertilizer. I know you, man. Come on, sir. Come on in there. Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah. Well, number one, let me just straighten up and fly right. I want to hang on that for a minute, because straighten up means to put your life in order. There's a scripture, say, don't worry about what the speck that's in your brother's eyes when you got a log in your own eyes. And so straighten up says, put your life in order, put yourself in order first. Then once you've straightened up and you're happy with you, we talk about when you understand you, when you're happy with yourself, then fly right now is learn the techniques, learn the tools now to soar to your dreams. Man.
Straighten up.
Straighten up and fly right.
Absolutely. We're going to take a quick break right here in the middle there. What I like to do when we come back on the other side, we're going to talk about, those 12 universal laws, sir, in the project that you have coming forward for speakers. Man, you're doing amazing work, and I'll let you and the amazing video content that we have talk about what you're doing. Stand by. Okay, sir. All right. Man, how about that? Dr. Herbert Harris, been around the world. I like to say around the world, and right? Man, amazing leader, coach, mentor, author. You want to look at him on Amazon, all the social media platforms. Find the 12 Universal Laws of Success. The 12 Universal Laws of Success by Dr. Herbert Harris. You want to check that out. It's all about partnerships and success, connecting the dots to success, connecting people to people, synergize it with others. And today, in this time of life, we have a global reach. You don't have to consistently communicate with the people that may not see what you're seeing. That's okay. You have the vision. You make the connections, and partnerships and success is all about connecting people to people that want to do something a little bit different. And it's going to be exciting. I love it. It's our inaugural kickoff. I got Dr. Herbert Harris on with me, man. I've got the big smile on today. So we're looking forward to an amazing run. Stand by as we just share a little bit of content of some of the amazing support that we have. Stand by.
If with the home study course, you came out with that, now people can get that, and it tells them exactly what to say and do and gives them a structure that makes sequential learning. So it's better for somebody like me. I don't need somebody to teach me and tell me what to do every day. Give me the course. I'll go do it. I'll set it up in my routine, watch it in my home office where I'm at right now, and go from there. So I think the knowledge is indispensable, but I think we can talk about that all day.
Yeah.
It's the formalization of a step-by-step study course that people can do at home that was needed when the pandemic was going on, because we couldn't go anywhere really. It was an idea that time had come, and they say that necessity is the mother of invention. So I highly recommend it for people for that reason. Even if you read the book and you think you know everything, even if you read the Super Cheap, there's so many more nuggets and gems in there.
Man, we're about to do an amazing work over here. We got some amazing connections that we're connecting, not only locally, not only nationally, but globally. Think global. Even though you may operate local, think global. What is the best thing, the very best thing that can happen out of the activities that you produce? Faith Without Works is dead. Bring my main man back on, Dr. Herbert Harris. We get a chance to glean off of him today. Stand by as we get him right back on to talk about the 12 universal laws of success. Stand by. Tell us all about it, sir. Great to have you back on. If you will, 12 universal laws of success.
Yes. But now the young man that was just speaking, Will Zanders, he's a protege, but one of those is, the greatest tribute to a teacher is to have the students soar even higher. I love to point up at my students and say, man, I helped get him off the ground. Let him soar. Even the most powerful jet, you get that Concorde, that supersonic jet, it still has to take off. It may fly higher than any other plane, but it still has to take off the ground. So when I can see a fellow like a Will Zanders, and Will's a master network marketer, let me tell you, big, huge organization. But when I can see him soaring now, I'm like, yes. So I love what you're doing with your relational currency, because it's just those kind of relationships that put you in a position, one, to learn. We must always be a student. I was on the phone with my coach yesterday, and my coach called me to be coached by me. Okay, because And, coaches have coaches too. What?
Oh, yes, sir.
You may have Michael Jordan sitting in the stands at the Super Bowl. Okay, he can't throw that football and he doesn't run, but in his arena he's a master. In another arena, somebody else is a master. And so, my coach called me and we had some serious conversations. And I was just honored that he called me. But he knows who I am because he helped put me up there.
Absolutely. When you think about being able to help someone connect a conduit, if you will, a conduit to somebody else's success in any other way. Leaders like yourself, it's not about who you are within it. It's about how you are within it, how you can help somebody, how you can come in, how you can be an assistant. I learned that from you when we spoke at first. You're all about helping someone else. Before we just take a dive into the body of work that you have currently, we most definitely want people to engage with what you have available. What is it that just gave you? You know what? I got to help more people, and if I will, you see network marketing.
Yeah.
You said being able to put people in position now to have a personal development, business professional development program that happens to have a high level compensation plan attached to it in whatever kind of industry that they see fit for them. Is it? Sir, speak on that.
Well, Kijana, you're never going to make any more than you see yourself making. And so if you want to make more money, you have to add more value to yourself because you're like a magnet. You attract into your life that is congruent with the vibration you're sending out. So if a person is sending out a vibration of mediocrity, that I'll do just enough to get by, that's a job mentality. When you work on a job, you do just enough to keep from getting fired. That's how you keep your job. But on the other hand, the boss is only going to pay you just enough to keep you from quitting. So you never get a chance to soar. But when you become an entrepreneur now, your income is commensurate with how you feel about yourself. And so if you want to earn more, you need to learn more. Start reading books. And one of the reasons that we wrote the 12 Universal Laws of Success is because we knew that if people could get the tools, if they could understand the law of thought, that you become what you think about most of the time. So then when somebody said there's no PV in TV, you say, I got it. I don't need to be sitting there watching somebody else make some money. Let me go on and learn more myself. Let me study. Let me learn. Let me practice. Let me master. And so this idea now, once you get an understanding for that, then you see that the true currency in life. What do you want your life to have stood for? I would like my life to say this man was a great farmer. He planted many minds in the fertile soil of consciousness, and out of these minds grew great people who did great things. And that was my purpose. Once I realized that was my purpose in life, then I could go on and fulfill that. So it's all about learning, expanding your own consciousness, learn how to read, learn how to practice, learn how to focus. When we go through the 12 Universal Laws of Success, you control your thoughts, number one. Number two, that second law of success, the law of change, says don't be upset about your present condition. And I know many of us who may be watching this, many people who may be watching this are entrepreneurs, and they became entrepreneurs to change their lives. They say, look, I want to have more money at the end of the month. I don't want to have more month at the end of the money. I want to have more money at the end of the month. I want my family to live a certain lifestyle. I want my kids to have things that maybe I never had. But the law of change says if you change your thinking, you can change your reality. That's a powerful thought. And as an entrepreneur, that's what it's really all about. They say, what is your why? Anytime you become an entrepreneur, the first question anybody ever asks you is, what is your why? Why are you doing this business? And that why some people say it should make you cry. I say that why should make you fly. That your dreams now should be so big that you have to expand yourself to even do them. So that's a key point. You look at the law of vision, you realize that if you can't see it, you can't be it. Then when you look at as you were sharing, Kijana, the young man who came to your home and he looked around the house and he was like, wow, this is beautiful. Yeah. But you see, what that should let him know is that it's possible.
Oh, man, it's possible. See?
That's right. That's right.
You made me jump up right there because possibility is everything.
Yes.
And I get excited because possibility equates to I get to.
Well, that's why, when we look at network marketing and entrepreneurship in general, you see there's always stories of telling how somebody else, I started out broke. I worked real hard. I made some money. I bought my house. I bought my car. I put my kids in school. And you say, man, the negative mind said, man, that don't mean nothing. The negative mind, the jealous mind will make you look at that and be jealous, be envious. And what you've done is just cut yourself off from the possibility. You see, the purpose of somebody else's success is to let you know that it's possible. They're no smarter than you. They're no better looking than you. All they did was work harder.
Now you got me stuttering here because see, I have a philosophy, and it's biblical, but I'm a babe in the word. But this is so strong and profound because we talked about this off pre-call before the books. We're both authors. We know powerful authors. We know classes, seminars, workshops. I said it's corn, right? In this capacity, it's very valuable to the foundation. But if you don't apply it, it's nothing. There is nothing at all. I don't care who said it, wrote it, put it together, packaged it up, handed it to you, and they said, man, you're going to have to make 50 calls a day. And you don't make one, there's nothing going to come out of the class. There's nothing going to come out of the training. There's nothing going to come out of the book. So I say this, apply the level of the work you do to match the level of the faith you have, in which you ask, what is your why, sir?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, that thing that you want to be doing it requires a lot of stuff. We were just talking about the law of vision. You have to have a vision in your mind of what your life would be like if everything you wanted manifested. What would your life be like if money was no object, if you had all the money? What would your life be like if you knew you could not fail? And you see, once you can paint that picture, the law of vision says that if you can see it, you can be it. Once you can paint that picture and then you follow the laws, you write it down. So any of our listeners who will watch this now and in the future, if you do not have written goals, when you look at chapter 3, the law of vision, it says, write your goals. They must be specific. They must be measurable. They must be set in advance. They must be realistic based on where you are. They must cover a certain time period. That if you don't have your goals written down, that you're just playing in the sandbox. And so if there's one thing you get away from this program today, write your goals, and don't write a big 2 or 3 pages. Write it so that they become like instructions. A goal like, I want to own a house in 3 years. Okay? That's a specific goal. Then you can say, now, how do I get to do it? Well, I need X amount of dollars down payment. I need a credit score of Y. I need this, I need that. And then now, once you've written it down, now you can figure out what you have to do to get there. And you can go on and make a plan. The scripture, the Habakkuk, says, write the vision, make it plain, that he may run that readeth it. That's a plan, isn't it? It said, though it may tarry, wait for it. And that doesn't mean sit there by the side of the road. Wait for it means do all that you can do. You do your part. Don't worry about the how. God knows what he got to do.
If your why is big enough, the how will manifest itself.
That's it.
How are you gonna lift that car? Because my baby is under the bottom of it.
That's it.
You know, I know why.
Yeah.
How? I don't know.
Yeah.
I know why I gotta lift it though.
You know, there's a beautiful story about that. A lady whose child was run over by a car, and the child is under a 3,000-pound car. Mm-hmm. And you know, when that lady looked at it, all she knew was she didn't want her child to die. She didn't run out and take a quick course in car lifting and muscle building. She just said, I got to do it. And she lifted that car up, and they were able to pull her son out from under that car. You say, well, how is that possible? We don't know how. Okay, that's not our business. Her why was so big that the wow manifested. You know, I love the scripture. There's a scripture in it. Jesus says, if you tell this mountain to be cast into the sea and doubt not, then whatsoever you saith will come to pass. That mountain is going into the sea. And the spiritual lesson there is that no matter how impossible something may appear to be, that if you say it with the belief that it can happen, it will happen. Don't worry about the how. So her mountain was lifting that car up, you know. You think about a person like Roger Bannister. Back in the 50s, up until the 50s, and Roger Bannister was the first person to run a 4-minute mile. For thousands of years, everybody said it was impossible to run a 4-minute mile. A human being could not do that. But yet he did it. But once he did it, within a year, 7 or 8 other people had done it. And so that's that power of example. You know, something I want to really leave with us. Many times, the greatest contribution you can make to the world, to other people, to your children, to your family, the greatest contribution is to be an example. You see, we have the power to be an example. We have the power to decide that we're going to keep our word. We have the power to say, if we're going to make these calls a day, that when Kejana tells me I'm going to make 50 calls, at the end of the day, he's going to have them made. We have the power to live a life of respect and honesty. And so many times, one of the greatest teachers is the teacher who teaches and lives by example. So those listening today, the entrepreneurs, those of you who have a dream, whatever you do, live your life as an example, knowing not only is the world watching you, but the Creator is watching you. When we look at the law of karma says, you know, the Bible, they tie together. One says, what you do in secret will be revealed in the light. Karma says the way you treat others will come back to you. The Bible says, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. When you let these things be your guiding principles and live a life as an example, you'll heal people that you'll never meet. There'll be somebody that say, man, I saw that man every morning. He got on that bus. He went to his job every morning. I saw him do it for 40 years. He took care of his family. If he can do it, I can do it. I don't know his name, okay, but I see him living a life of example. Back to you, Kejana.
That's what I'm talking about. That's why I wanted to put this platform of podcasting together, for the strength and the power of what you just delivered right there about being an example at all times.
Yes.
You where you are, your ministry. In fact, let's take ministry, babe. Right? In the word, I'm just saying, we'll say, wherever you are, you are. So wherever you are is a ministry of any sort.
Yes.
What is really honorable is that we found a ministry of helping people wherever we are.
Yes.
With a vehicle that can help people.
Yes.
Dr. Harris, sir, I want to give you a moment really to talk about what's next in your blueprint, the whole franchise of what you're doing around the world. I want to share that amazing quick interview again, just to bring back the power of the next part of what you're going to do in people's life. I'm a subscriber to what you're doing. Okay, stand by a second. I'm going to bring you right back up and we'll let people see who you are, what you're doing, how to impact the community right alongside this amazing leader right here. Imagine being able to glean off of someone that's been making a difference in people's lives for 4 or 5 decades, a mentor, a friend, a brother, and giving you the tools that you need to apply for the success that you desire. Stand by.
If with the home study course you came out with that, now people can get that, and it tells them exactly what to say and do, and gives them a structure that makes sequential learning. So it's better for somebody like me. I don't need somebody to teach me and tell me what to do every day. Give me the course. I'll go do it. I'll set it up in my routine, watch it in my home office where I'm at right now, and go from there. So I think the knowledge is indispensable, but I think we can talk about that all day. It's the formalization of a step-by-step study course that people can do at home that was needed when the pandemic was going on, because we couldn't go anywhere really. It was an idea that time had come, and it said that necessity is the mother of invention. So I highly recommend it for people for that reason. Even if you read the book and you think you know everything, even if you read the Super Achieve, there are so many more nuggets and gems in there.
Man, that's beautiful. You know, Kajana, while we have the camera, I want to invite your listeners that when we look at where we're going next, our goal right now is to equip people for the rest of this year. And one of the things that we've put together was a collection of all the things you need. We call the Success Toolbox, the new you for the new year success bundle. And what we wanted to do is to put everything in one place, one digital download that you can get, and you have everything you need. It's available on our website, herbertharris.info, www.herbertharris.info. And what the success bundle is, number one, it's the audio. And this is something that you can't get anywhere else. The 12 Universal Laws of Success audio. I sat down for over 6 hours and read every word in the book so you can listen to it in your time while you're driving. It's the 12 Universal Laws of Success ebook, which is the electronic version of the 12 Universal Laws of Success. But with it, you get a workbook. So as you go through the book, you can fill in the blanks with the workbook. And the importance of a workbook is it helps you crystallize what you know. It helps you retain what you know. In addition, now you get the home study course. Will was talking about the home study course. And this is the platform. It's a series of audios, audio on how to study, to teach you how to get the most out of the books you read, the articles you read, even when you're studying the program to learn your business, the how to study technique works for anything. And then you have a workbook, once again, a study guide, so that you can walk through this process. And the process, lesson number 1 says, assess where you are right now. To look at your life, be honest with yourself. What's going on in your life? What are your victories? What are the things you know how to do well? What are your lessons? What are the things that you need to learn better? You know, to look at your victories and lessons. And then lesson number 2 says, now, based on that, let's make the necessary adjustments. Maybe you need to change your thinking from being a negative thinker to a positive thinker. Maybe you need to change your emotions now to have more confidence in yourself, to don't be so subjected to other people's criticism. Maybe you need to develop some new habits so that you can make those 50 calls a day. How do you make 50 calls a day? You sit down and you schedule it and you get it done. And then maybe you need new relationships. And that's why I was so happy to be on the program when Kajana shared what the theme was, because the relationships you have will take you where you want to go or block the door, one or the other. And so this home study course is a part of this success bundle. And then we have other things going with it. We have an hour-long audio of a live seminar so that you can listen and pick up all the information from that live seminar, 12 Universal Laws of Success seminar, just like you were there. Plus it has some audios that I picked out just for you. The wealth building in trying times, how you need to look at your situation to go on and change poverty into abundance, to change lack into infinity, all that you want. And so this wealth building in trying times shows you how to come out of where you are now to go where you want to go. And then the law of command, a powerful audio that teaches you how to use affirmations to reprogram your mind. And of course, the 12 affirmation poster. And so this package is worth over $250. But we are selling it. We are asking you to invest $77. $77 to have all of that to change your life. The book, the audio book, the home study course, the audios, all these things to help you be what you want to be, do what you want to do, and have whatever you want to have. So go to our website, herbertharris.info, www.herbertharris.info, and you'll see the little blinker there. Click on it and get your copy. Once you get it and you work into it, we're going to plug you in with one of our mastermind groups so that you can stay bonded over the next year and create the life of your dreams. Back to you, Kejana. Your mic is not on.
They call it a mute button for a reason, right? You can't talk. Hey, this is live, and I love it. The natural ability. See, this is really good. I hope the people could get it. This is really natural. A good conversation between friends, colleagues, my mentor. Get to glean off of you, and we get to do it in front of the world. The world has changed, sir. 12 universal laws of success. You got to get your copy. You got to get that. Man, I'm digging into it. I got to take the time to really, but the law of action. The law of action is where I live, if you will. Mm-hmm. And just speak on that before we get out of here. We've got about a couple of minutes before we go.
Yes. Well, the law of action is really the foundation for your daily method of operation. We call it your DMO. And everything has a daily method of operation. The law of action shows you how to take what you have to get what you want. It says, hey, once you've written your goals down specifically, then now the actions to give you the power to achieve them is the number one, to set a time to read your goals over 3 times a day, at least at specific times, to lay out your plans the night before, to write down the list of the things you need to do tomorrow, but do it tonight. Write it down. And then once you've written it down, allow the time to be that you need to complete it and schedule those times to be done. If you want to change your business, schedule the times that you're supposed to make your calls and leave enough time to get it done. And then the key to that idea, the law of action, is to constantly monitor your progress. At the end of the day, to look at what you set out to do and see what you actually got done. And then to make those adjustments. Sometimes you may be putting too much on yourself, giving yourself too many tasks, but do those adjustments. Maybe you planned things too tightly and didn't leave room for unexpected occurrences. You got to leave some little buffer room in there. But the point is, the law of action leads you to a daily method of operation. And once you get into that daily rhythm, you get up at the same time every day. You make your list the night before. You do your prayers, your meditations, your exercise. You schedule windows. And I like to look at IPAs, income producing activities.
Income producing activities. IPA. That's it. Now you gotta get the book. Now you need to go to the website. Now that's good stuff right there, sir. IPA, remember that, income producing activities, especially for those of you that work from home, entrepreneurs, daily mode of operation, daily method of operation, however you want to break down the acronym, apply it, find the time to commit to it. Sir, it's been amazing to have you on. I'm sorry we only had an hour.
That's all right. There are other hours to come.
And we're gonna do some more. We're gonna do some more work. It's been an honor. A privilege. See, that's why Les Brown makes all the big money. A privilege and plum pleasing pleasure, sir, to have you on today. We will do it again. I look forward to talking to you soon. We'll get you all the information on the backside. Absolutely.
Thank you. You keep up the good work. It's young men like you who have an idea and then you put it into motion. And you see this idea will grow based on your ability to nurture it and to be consistent. You've demonstrated you have what it takes, and just keep doing what you're already doing. Just do it more.
Yes, sir. Apply the work to match the level of the faith you have. Yes, sir. God bless. We'll see you on the other side, man. How about that? How about that for a kickoff show? You know, putting an effort towards what you want to do. You got to just put the effort. You might not know how, you might not know, but if you know why, the how would manifest itself. Let's get on to the other side. Thank you for tuning in today for the Partnerships and Success inaugural kickoff. It's been an honor and a privilege to have Dr. Herbert Harris, author of the 12 Universal Laws of Success, as my first guest. Thank you for attending. Thank you for catching it. Share, like, haven't even worried about that end. We just want to make an impact. God bless.